Star Wars is no doubt one of the most iconic film franchises in history, captivating audiences with an intergalactic battle that rages for generations, and it all started with the original trilogy, possibly one of the greatest sagas of good versus evil of all time. Today we'll be traveling to a galaxy far, far away to figure out who is one with the Force and who's going straight into the Sarlacc Pit. Before we get started, we should mention this list will be confined to the original trilogy. This includes the characters themselves and their actions, so there won't be any talk of young Anakin and his pod racing stunt here. But if you do want to see us cover the newest trilogy, the prequels, the animated series, or anything else, let us know, and maybe we'll give those the good to evil treatment next. Alright, let's get to it. I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and I'm probably not your father.
No, I am your father.
But this is Star Wars, the original trilogy, good to evil.
Yes, I bet you have.
Starting off with the most good, as usual, we have the Jedi Master, ObiWan Kenobi, a hero and teacher in his own right. He's introduced in the films by rescuing Luke, C-3PO, and R2-D2 from a band of Tusken Raiders with his pure knowledge on the race.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Kenobi is trusted by Princess Leia and the Rebels, so much so that they entrust him with the Death Star plans. He teaches our chosen one the ways of the Force and trains him so he's lightsaber ready.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
Obi-Wan also saves Luke in the cantina after he catches the wandering eyes of wanted fugitives, the first of many badass lightsaber fights. Kenobi is selfless, especially when it comes to the way of the Jedi. Nearly everything that he had ever done in his lifetime was to continue the legacy of the Jedi, even after its death. He sacrificed himself during the final fight against Darth Vader in order to serve as a distraction for the others to escape the grips of the Empire. Without Obi-Wan, there would be no Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, there would be no chance for the Rebel Alliance, and most importantly, there'd be no hope. With the silver medal for most good, we have the chosen one himself, Luke Skywalker. Without his knowledge, he makes the decision to entrust C-3PO's words and convincing his caregivers to buy the R2 unit alongside him, thus starting him off on a journey of a lifetime. He joins C-3PO in the search for the missing droid after R2-D2 tries to continue on his search for Obi-Wan Kenobi, despite the fact that many droids are considered replaceable in the Star Wars universe. After meeting Kenobi and learning that his aunt and uncle have been killed by the Empire, he still makes the difficult decision to leave his home planet, beginning his journey to save the galaxy.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Showing that even during a time of tremendous grief, he still finds courage within himself. Skywalker, having more than a few heroic acts up his sleeve, helps rescue Princess Leia from the Empire. During the Battle of Yavin, he's the pilot that ultimately takes out the first Death Star, and travels to both Bespin and Jabba's palace to save his friends.
I can't keep the vision out of my head. They're my friends, I gotta help them.
Luke Skywalker is truly courageous and a hero in every sense of the word. He cares deeply for his friends and family, although the kiss was a little much.
He's my brother.
And is truly essential to the Rebel Alliance in defeating the Empire. Falling just behind her brother is Princess Leia, an amazing Rebel Alliance leader. Placing her life on the line multiple times in order to help defeat the Empire, Leia is witty, smart, and tactical. She's the beginning of it all, ensuring that the Death Star plans are given to an R2 unit with a very important message attached.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Even after she's captured by the Empire and threatened by Grand Moff Tarkin, she doesn't crack under the pressure and never reveals the true location of the Rebel base, knowing that revealing this will surely end in their demise. In lying to the commander, even while in the literal clutches of Darth Vader, she manages to keep her cool and even gift them a few witty remarks, as expected.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
After Leia is saved, she continues her actions as a leader, even leading the evacuation of Hoth during the Imperial attack. And even when her back is against the wall, she refuses to give up without a fight. She attempts to go to Jabba's palace in the hope of rescuing Han Solo, even though this plan ultimately goes south and a bit fanservice-y. Princess Leia is certainly one of the best rebel leaders, with her genuine care for her people and for the greater good of the galaxy. Like Luke, she too is a hero, and someone dedicated to doing good. Now, we have the Jedi Master Yoda. Although he played integral roles in the Clone Wars, his presence was more limited in the original trilogy.
Size matters not.
But the most important thing he does is teach Luke a much more in-depth understanding of the Force.
Away with your weapon! I mean you no harm!
An incredibly important gift that allows him to continue his fight against the dark side. With his last bit of time on Earth, he made sure to fulfill his commitment to pass on his Jedi training. And in addition to teaching Luke very valuable life lessons before passing on, just as ObiWan did, he also managed to help the rebels after his death. He's undeniably a good being, just a bit too old to fight this time around. Granted, his advice can be a bit cryptic at times, plus he's just a bit crazy. Must be all that space moss on Dagobah. Next on our list is another Rebel Alliance leader, Admiral Ackbar. He's level-headed and always willing to fight alongside his team.
Proceed with the countdown.
Ackbar planned the surprise assault on the battle station with Mon Mothma, led an attack against the station to the Death Star with Lando Calrissian, and was an essential commander in destroying the first Death Star. Not to mention, he gave us one of our favorite memes from the original movies.
It's a trap!
Following the Admiral is yet another Alliance leader, Mon Mothma. She's one of the head forces in the background that continue to make plans for the Rebel Alliance, including approving multiple strikes at Princess Leia's request. She's an important political figure for the Alliance, but is never shown on the battlefield as avidly as Admiral Ackbar, considering her significance to the Rebels. Up next is a fan-favorite droid, R2-D2. R2 holds a lot of personality for being such a small droid, and manages to have a great deal of heroism. R2-D2 is the droid entrusted by Princess Leia to deliver the Death Star plan safely. It saves our heroes from the trash compactor, as well as the wingman to Luke Skywalker while destroying the Death Star. R2 always manages to save the day with the little things that may get overlooked in the movies. While ultimately it's just a droid following orders, it always makes sure to get the job done, no matter the circumstance. Following our favorite droid is Aunt Beru, caregiver to Luke and moisture farmer, alongside her husband Owen. Beru Lars is placed above her husband because she always believed in Luke, and often argued with Owen about him being able to leave the farm and finally live his life.
Oh, and he can't stay here forever. Most of his friends have gone.
But not far from her is Uncle Owen. An earnest moisture farmer and father figure, it was clear he always cared for Luke, but he was always a bit overprotective.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
He never wanted our hero to leave the farm, attempting to keep him safe from the unknown. Although it was clear he was protective out of his care for the boy, Luke had to be able to spread his wings and fly. Fly the X-Wing, that is. But let's not forget the second droid in the famous duo, R2's companion C-3PO. While he's a bit more vocal than R2 about things, that doesn't necessarily make him a better droid. While he never directly harms anyone in the movies, he doesn't have a proper affinity to do things the Rebel way.
They're heading for the prison level. If you hurry, you might catch them.
C-3PO tends to be a bit skittish when doing anything that's dangerous, whether it could save lives or not. He tends to follow orders to a T without much thinking outside the box. Plus, he can come off as just a tad bit annoying, but undeniably, he's one of the best forms of comic relief in the movie. Watching him haggle with Jabba the Hutt? Priceless.
We're doomed.
Next up is everyone's favorite Wookiee, Chewbacca. Upon meeting the pair of smugglers, Hans and Chewie, we quickly came to the conclusion that the two of them are rather greedy, with no real affinity for others during their travels.
It's gonna cost you something extra.
They take jobs from whoever they want, whenever they want, no matter the cargo. After all, to a smuggler, credits are credits. He has a bad temper, although most of his outrages come from places of genuine concern for him and Hans' well-being.
You hear me? Huh?
But despite this, Chewie is definitely the more compassionate of the two, often seen scolding or bargaining with Han to do the right thing. Ultimately, Chewbacca becomes a notable rebel hero after rescuing Princess Leia, assisting with the destruction of the Death Star, and fighting alongside the Alliance in the Millennium Falcon. Chewie is undeniably loyal and definitely the best co-pilot an ex-smuggler could ask for. Honestly, you can't not love this big furry teddy bear. Rightfully alongside his co-pilot, we have Han Solo, a charming narcissist at first, with only regard for the money he's earned and the bounty just above his head.
Yes, I bet you have.
Solo is certainly a complex character as we watch him transform from movie to movie into a slightly more empathetic badass rebel hero. For the same reasons as Chewie, as the two go hand in hand, we'll have to mark their time as smugglers as a bit towards the dark side.
Chewie and I'll take care of this. You stay here.
Since it comes from a place of greed, disregard for other life forms, and just a bit of illegal activity. That said, Han does evolve into a great character, going from selfish to hero, especially in the later films, working alongside the rebels for a good cause, and hey, with all that charm, he did manage to get the princess to fall in love with him.
I love you.
I know.
It's important to note that Han ends up as much of a hero as those we've listed before him, but it took him a good while to find his principles. As the third ex-smuggler in a row, we have Lando, the administrator of Cloud City. Lando is meant to be salvation for the heroes as they arrive on Bespin, looking for refuge from the Empire.
Hello, what have we here?
Unbeknownst to them, Lando is already hosting the Imperial forces in his city, although for what it's worth, Lando was forced to do so as he was threatened by the destruction of his planet and his people. While Han gets taken away in Carbonite, C-3PO gets dismantled, and Leia and Chewbacca get taken prisoner, he does manage to come to terms with his conscience and sets the prisoners free. After this, he does help Luke attempt to rescue Han from Jabba the Hutt, and even helps the rebellion by working with them to destroy the Imperial battle station. He's a guy with a bit of a spotted past, but Lando has clearly redeemed himself in the eyes of the Force. In all honesty, morality takes a pretty steep nosedive right about here. Next up, we've got a bounty hunter with a short-lived life, but a long history of discourse. Greedo. I mean, the guy's got greed in his name. But seriously, he's a hunter hired by Jabba the Hutt to kill Han Solo for that sweet, sweet bounty. It seems like Greedo is just another amoral, bottom-feeding bounty hunter who went after the wrong guy. And most importantly, Han shot first. Following our list, we have one of the Mandalorian, the myth, the legend, Boba Fett, hired by Darth Vader himself in order to take the reward for capturing the crew of the Millennium Falcon. Boba Fett is shown as cold, calculated, and intricate in his work.
You may take Captain Solo to Jabba the Hutt after I have Skywalker.
He's always one of the first on the scene to reap the rewards from his hunts.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
After Solo and the rest of the crew are captured by Jabba, he follows to ensure their death, which doesn't exactly go as planned for him. Motivated by money and enthralled by the hunt, Boba Fett goes down as one of the most iconic bounty hunters of all time, right down into the Sarlacc Pit. How do we follow up one of the most feared bounty hunters? Well, by the very beings that hire him, of course. Jabba the Hutt. He's a glutton, a gangster, and just downright disgusting. And his personality seems about as revolting as his appearance. He used Han Solo's Carbonite form as a trophy for his throne room, enslaved Princess Leia to be a form of entertainment, and attempted to feed Luke to his pet Rancor. And that's only one delivery gone wrong for him. Jabba only really cares about his money and making sure his deliveries are finished. Even though he did attempt to throw our heroes into the Sarlacc Pit, he does provide jobs to help out the space economy. Like, he might not provide life insurance, but do you think he provides dental? Now we're falling into the truly despicable territory. For these guys, there's no money involved or insurance, just pure, unadulterated evil. Next up on our list, we have Darth Vader himself, a fan-favorite villain and ruthless leader serving the Empire. Now, here's the thing. We're ranking all these characters based on their actions, behaviors, and motives in the original trilogy. Anakin Skywalker is revealed to be more complex, but today, we're judging exclusively based on the original 3 films. He's responsible for capturing and torturing Leia and killing a few random Empire soldiers just for inconveniencing him. He kills his former Jedi Master, ObiWan Kenobi, in a lightsaber duel.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And forces Lando into trapping the Millennium Falcon's crew for him. Darth Vader is cruel with no regard for other life forms, including his family. He also does a few other notable things, such as trapping Han Solo in Carbonite and severing his own son's hand.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
You know, just Vader things. All in all, he succumbed to the dark side. Tragic, very tragic. That said, Vader does definitely still have a hint of good left within him. He does save Luke from our most evil character, which results in his own death, which is exactly what holds him above the rest of the more evil characters. One could argue that this sacrifice and redemption should place him in a more positive spot in our list. But let's not forget the magnitude of his evilness throughout the series and that he severed his own son's hand. It definitely weighs him down in the morality scale. But the silver medal of evil has to go to Grand Moff Tarkin. Right when we first meet this guy, he's captured Leia and is ordering her to spill the beans on the secret location of the rebel base. And even when she gives him exactly what he wants, Tarkin destroys her home planet of Alderaan right in front of her. Oh, what a an entire planet. Sure, Leia did lie about the location, but she gave him the information he wanted. Boom! Destroyed it anyway. Not to mention the rebel base of Yavin 4, ordering Leia to be executed, along with being one of the most feared Imperial leaders. Quite a grand track record for Tarkin, who never does anything remotely good during the films.
Princess Leia, before your execution.
But luckily for him, there's one being who's much more evil than him. And to no surprise to the entire galaxy, our most evil being is Emperor Palpatine, the head of the entire empire with thousands of disposable men at his beck and call. He's known as the true incarnation of evil.
There is a great disturbance in the Force.
Although we don't see him kill a single person in the films, it's implied that he always has someone else to do his dirty work. Even as Darth Vader attempts to get his son to join their side, the Emperor has other plans, which include replacing Vader with Luke Skywalker, going to show that there is no one he would not betray in order to continue to rise in power. He threatens to kill Luke's friends if he does not sacrifice himself to the dark side.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
While his plans ultimately fail and he's killed by the hands of his apprentice, there's no mistaking that he's truly the most evil character within the original trilogy. But what do you guys think? Agree with our ranking? Should we cover other Star Wars movies and shows? Do you really want to hear about Jar Jar Binks? Remember to binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality spectrum of your favorite cartoons and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.